What is up? Hellboy Diecast here, or Con, or whatever you want to call me. Today we're going to talk about something I found a little interesting with a certain brand that I promise I won't mention at all. That, in all seriousness, Coca Cola. Something I've noticed being a NASCAR fan, obviously a diecast collector, it kind of affects both aspects of it. So one thing I've noticed is Coca-Cola brands are very specific. And maybe somebody can explain why. They're very specific about certain companies there will allow to produce their diecast, certain models. For example, with NASCAR stuff, we don't see Coca-Cola schemes or Monster Energy schemes. However, we see Body Armor schemes. Body Armor is owned by Coca-Cola. It's like their sports drink, basically, their version of Gatorade. We see them being marketed and produced in, obviously, in these. Where with Coke, we don't. We see Coke in M2s all the time. Everywhere. Coke, Fanta, Sprite, any other brands. You see those. Now, what really irks me as well as a collector of both, literally, both different kinds of these, NASCAR and M2, just stuff in general, is the fact that you're trying to find good paint schemes, especially for NASCAR with race wins, and they don't get produced or offered because Coca-Cola's like, For example, we've had a couple of wins this year that involve the Coca-Cola companies. We had the Clash, where Ryan Preece won in a Coca-Cola sponsored car with Kroger. Now, of course, they are producing the diecast, and there will be Kroger models, but a Coca-Cola was on the side are just not there. It's basically just a blank variant. As well, we've also seen this past weekend at Bristol, Ty Gibbs earning his first career win in a Monster Energy car. Now, what I think happens with that, I think they either don't produce it or they do like they used to do back in the day of just putting the driver's names on the car and call it a day. Or just leave it all blank. I don't think they would do that. But mainly with Monster Energy, you don't see their logos anywhere. And they're all owned by Coke, by Coca-Cola. Coke, Body Armor, Fanta, Sprite, all those. So, and again, maybe somebody that works at Coca-Cola will watch this. I doubt it. Maybe they will, and maybe they can make it make sense. But I don't understand it myself. And as a collector of NASCAR stuff, as well as just stuff in general, it's kind of like, why is the double standard there? Because like I said, we have this with M2. That's a Coke vehicle. And there's also Coke stuff out there from M2. Yet for NASCAR stuff, we're only getting like Body Armor. Like that's all we get. We don't get Monster Energy schemes, we don't get Coca-Cola schemes. And even as a gamer, I can tell you now, I've seen it in the gaming as well. I think 2021 was the last year, NASCAR 21 Ignition, before the 2022 update, there was still Monster schemes. Once they did 2022 for the Gen 7 or the next gen, no Monster Energy logos in sight. So, I mean, maybe it makes sense. Right? Maybe it makes sense to Coca-Cola. I don't understand why with one brand you're okay with them producing merchandising, but the other, you're like, no. Especially a sport that you are a main sponsor of. Like Coca-Cola is one of the premier sponsors of NASCAR, of the Cup Series. And again, we've seen plenty of drivers win in Monster Energy schemes that don't get merchandising produced or even offered because of sponsorship stuff. Guys like Tyler Reddick, Riley Herbst, Ty Gibbs. Hell, even Ty Gibbs won a championship at Xfinity. At the time, it was Xfinity, now it's O'Reilly. And they made the championship back. I guess they just didn't do the Monster Energy scheme. They did the Interstate Battery scheme, which I don't even think I remember seeing him run it all. But, you know what I mean? It's kind of one of those of, and here's the thing. We see all these other companies. If you're trying to make the argument of you're producing to kids, then at that point, why the fuck do we have Busch beers? Excuse my language. Why do we have all these beer sponsors like Busch and historically Budweiser, Keystone? Like, why do we have these alcohol sponsors if that's the kind of thing we're going off? Again, I don't know. This is just a rant from a disgruntled fan, so maybe somebody can explain it in a little bit better terms. And I know everybody's gonna say, well, what does this have to do with diecast? This here. This. And that's kind of why I'm complaining about it, because we're not seeing diecast being produced of, a lot of great schemes unless you go customs. Like, I remember they might have done some of Monster Energy with, like, Hoonigan and Ken Block back in the day, but I couldn't tell you. I know there have been a lot of stuff. Obviously, we've seen people do customs of, Coca Cola branded cars and Monster Energy, whatever. But you're also going to pay, as for the consumer and the collector, you're going to pay way extra. Ignore that's the oven. You're going to pay way extra because you have to buy the base vehicle, and then you have to take and get it custom. And at that point, you're spending probably, I don't know, a couple $100 total, depending on the situation, for a car that if they would just offer, if Coca-Cola would get their heads out of their you-know-whats and offer to be produced, I mean, yeah, that's gonna make people that do customs lose money, but that's gonna allow, it's gonna help sales a little bit, and it's gonna make it a lot easier for the average collector like me who doesn't have the money to go out and get customs, doesn't know anybody to do customs. So it's kind of one of those double-edged swords. You know what I mean? And look, we've seen Monster Energy everywhere. Coca-Cola everywhere. Those are big companies. Coca-Cola, one of the biggest brands in the world, if not the biggest brand in the world. I mean, you see the Coca-Cola logo. It's recognizable globally, internationally, all over the place. And even like Monster Energy, the brand we've been talking about for a while, that has not really produced much stuff, and even Coca-Cola doesn't produce anything themselves. That's just Coke, just like a regular Coca-Cola scheme. Nope, you don't see those. Or any Coca-Cola schemes, you don't see those. Not anymore. Maybe they used to. I can't remember. I'm not exactly sure when they stopped doing it. I know they produced like some of the Dale Earnhardt Coca-Cola cars back in the day in the 90s. I'm sure they produced more since then. I've seen something like the early Stuart Haas, Kurt Busch Monster Energy schemes from like 2014, 2015, but I couldn't tell you when they exactly stopped. I just know they haven't been doing it over the last few years. And, I mean, it's good to see the drivers winning those schemes. It's like, well, if you're a fan, you're not going to be able to purchase the merchandising. You may be able to get, like, not even going to be able to get t-shirts like this that have Monster Energy logos. If they do, they're going to be fucking censored. And it's like, why? That's my, from my perspective, it's like, why is this thing? And again, it might make sense to some people. I don't understand it. I'm sure there's a lot of the people out there that don't understand it. It's just one of those, situations, right? Maybe in the future we see Coca-Cola kind of pull the stick out of their ass. I mean, even that there behind me, I just hadn't even planned that Coca-Cola thing behind me. I mean, there's big merchandising made with Coke. And again, I'm going to show the Blaney car one more time. Another company, a brand of Coca-Cola product, you're allowing them to be produced. Which, again, I don't think about it. I don't even understand that. Why, like, certain brands are okay. Like, Body Armor's okay. Coca-Cola and Monster Energy aren't. Like, I'm confused. They're all under the same umbrella. If the big company of Coca-Cola is not willing to allow their logos on anything, then the smaller brands below, the brands they own, shouldn't be either. So, I mean, that's all I've really got, is just, I know people are going to say this is something to post. Yep. Yeah, pretty much. Just trying to make the one upload a week goal that I've set myself. And again, maybe it makes sense to some, but it don't to me. And maybe in the future somebody will clarify saying this is why this is done like this. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see. So with that, I will see y'all in the next video. I don't like having to come on here and rant. I plan on making a rant video, but we'll probably keep on schedule. Might do another haul video whenever I get back into out and about shopping. That might be next week's video. I don't know. I don't have a plan for none of this. I'm just winging it all. But with that, I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.